I take it back. I take back what I said in the last video. Gemma, dude, this is season 2, episode 7, was a tragedy. I still don't really care about Audi Mark. I'm not really invested in him. I'm team Any Mark, right? I want Any Mark and Helly R to get together. But the thing is, dude, Gemma deserves everything she wants. After seeing what she's gone through in this episode, dude, what she's been going through for years. We thought Mark S, Dylan, Irving, Helly, we thought all of them on the severed floor had it bad. What Gemma is going through is absolutely insane. She is being severed multiple times in different ways every single day. It's insane. But before we dive into that, let's take it back a little bit to when Mark S and Gemma meet for the first time. They're both professors. They meet, they got some small talk, they hit it off, they like each other, they get serious, they decide to have a kid. And Gemma has a miscarriage. Tensions build between the two. They still love and support each other. It obviously hit Gemma like hard. Obviously, emotions are high. And so they decide to go to this fertility clinic, and they're apparently this is a route that multiple people in this position take. I don't know if this is a path that is Lumen centric, or if it exists in the real world, like in vitro fertilization or something. I don't know the exact procedure, the route that they're taking. We saw Mark S give Gemma an injection, but this clinic is affiliated with Lumen, and that's how they get a hold of Gemma. Now, we'll come back to this in a bit, but let's head to the testing floor for a sec. At Lumen, Gemma gets to be Gemma. Just like the other severed workers, once she's done with her day, she gets to be Gemma. She gets to be her true self, but she doesn't get to go home. She lives on the testing floor. And not only that, dude, she's severed not once. She's severed multiple times. Every single room that she enters, she severs again and again and again. The day that we saw her, she went to 6 different rooms, and every single one of those rooms has their own version of Gemma. They're stress testing the severed procedure for the public. Hey, you don't want to go to the dentist? Well, you can sever. You don't want to fly on a plane? You just want to instantly travel to your destination? You can sever while you're on the plane. You don't want to have the burden of writing all these thank you notes after Christmas, sending them back, doing all this mundane work. Well, you can sever. They are stress testing the severed procedure for the public, and Gemma is the guinea pig. And not even on the testing floor. Gemma's entire existence at Lumen is a test subject. The reason Miss Casey was a test. The reason why they let Gemma go up there is because Mark S is up there. They want, again, to test the severed procedure. Because Mark and Gemma know each other intimately, they wanted to know if the severed procedure can handle that. And then what Miss Cobell was doing, it was stress testing it even further. Having the candle there, having them have an intimate wellness session, talking about things, trying to trigger emotions. They're trying to test the severed procedure. And now going back to the testing floor, every single one of the rooms, the doctor is monitoring. He's there. He's the dentist in Wellington. And then in the Christmas tree room where they're signing the cards and all that stuff, he is the husband, right? So they're stress testing the memories of the severed personas also, not just from the Audis. The multiple innies, they're stress testing those as well. Can memories carry over from one fracture of a mind to another severed section of a mind, to another severed section of a mind, to another severed section of the mind, and then also all of those to the Audi? They're trying all these different combinations. Imagine if Gemma undergoes reintegration. She's not just gonna get a nosebleed; her entire head's gonna explode. The amount of personas in Gemma's head is absolutely insane. And the thing is, if this gets pushed out to the public, they got 2 routes to go with this. Either you have one severed being. You have one severed self, like your innie and outie, and your innie goes to the dentist, goes on the plane, does all these mundane tasks that you want to do, or you'll have, like Gemma, multiple different innies doing all these different activities. Because I don't know if they might have already tested this, right? Can an innie, if you have only one innie and one outie, can your one innie handle doing all the horrible tasks that you don't want to do? That's kind of tough. So maybe it is easier to have multiple different innies handling one thing. But then the caveat is, the downside is, like you saw, Gemma is having to go to the dentist every single day of her life. She's having to write Christmas cards, thank you notes every single day of her life. So that's also horrible. And speaking of that doctor, right? He's in every single one of the rooms with her. He is developing an attachment to her because he's with her all day. And it's sick. It's twisted. Don't get me wrong. But from his perspective, he created her multiple times. He has this twisted sense of ownership over her. Because every single one of those rooms, it's like the first time enters one of those rooms, it's like she's reborn, right? She doesn't know who she is. She doesn't know where she is. She doesn't know what she's doing. The only interaction she has is with him. And so he kind of built her up in each and every single one of those rooms. Just like in the first episode of Severance, right? When Helly comes in, she doesn't know anybody else. She doesn't know anybody. The first person, all the people on the severed floor is the only people that she knows, right? So those people, those interactions are extremely profound. And Gemma only has this doctor. And she's had those first experiences with the doctor for every single one of the rooms that she's been to. And so now this doctor doesn't want to let her go. But the thing is, to Gemma, you've just associated all these horrible things, the dentist, having to do all these mundane tasks, with yourself. She doesn't care about you. But the thing is, I don't think he even cares to have those feelings reciprocated. It's just like, it's just a power trip for him, you know? But one of those rooms gives us a big clue as to what is going on with this show. We know Cold Harbor, once completed, will be the greatest achievement in the history of mankind. And one of these rooms is labeled Cold Harbor. Now, the question is, how does that correlate? And obviously, what is inside Cold Harbor? But the thing is, what is inside the room Cold Harbor is not necessarily Cold Harbor in its entirety. So even if that door opens and we see what's on the inside, that doesn't necessarily mean we have all the answers right there. But the big question is, how does what the severed worker is doing, how is what they're doing correlate with what Gemma's doing? Like, what are they sorting? Like Mark S is working on Cold Harbor and he's like 80-90% done. What does that mean? For example, let's look at another room. Let's look at Wellington, the dentist room. I'm assuming one of the severed workers are working on Wellington or have worked on Wellington. What does that mean? What are they sorting? Are they having to sort out memories from Gemma in real time as she's in the room so that when she comes out, she doesn't remember anything? I don't think so. And not only that, to make things even more confusing, they have the twins, the severed twins, like the MDR twins. You got to see the twin version of Dylan, Irving, Mark, and Helly working on the other side of the computer. Except instead of facing inward, like the innies are facing inward, they're facing outward. I don't know if that has any significance. So while this episode answered some questions, it raised so many more questions. What is the correlation between the severed workers and what Gemma is doing? And then what is the correlation between what these twins, because they're kind of look similar to Mark and Dylan and all of them, but they're not them at all. What is the correlation between what they're doing to what the severed workers are doing and what the severed workers are doing to what Gemma's doing? What is going on? What is needed? What is needed to accomplish a project? What are the individual pieces? What are they doing and how did they relate to one another? All right, now let's head back outside to the clinic. This clinic that is 100% associated with Lumen because we saw the dentist, the dude whistling the wreck of the Edmonds Fitzgerald, the doctor down on the testing floor. We saw that guy at the clinic, at the fertility clinic. And this is how they got a hold of Gemma. She's in a moment of need. She lost her baby. She's in an emotional wreck and she wants to fix things. Okay? That's the thing with Lumen. they don't do things against your will. You give consent in one way or the other. So she's sitting at home, all right, and she's filling out this worksheet. She's looking at these cards very similar to the cards that Dylan had stole from season 1. So she's getting things sent from Lumen, right? She's on Lumen's mailing list, and she's filling the stuff out. And Mark is like, "Why are you wasting your time with this?" So she gets defensive because she enjoys it. She likes doing it. And so naturally, she's not going to want to ever again share what she's doing with these worksheets with Mark again, because Mark doesn't approve of that. He's like, "Well, you're wasting your time with that." But she enjoys it and she wants to do it, and she has fun with it. Whatever. I don't know what she's filling out, okay? But that's not the point. You have this kind of mini Severance right there. She's doing these Lumen worksheets, and she's keeping that separate from Mark, okay? So you get to the night of the car accident. Gemma goes out to a party. Mark is staying home finishing up some work. She said she'll be back at 10. I don't think she went to a party. Obviously she didn't go to a party. She had a car accident. But I don't think that she even intended to go to a party. I think she went to some sort of thing that was related to the clinic or Lumen. They're one and the same, okay? And she just wanted to keep that away from Mark. And Lumen faked the car accident so they could take Gemma to the testing floor. Because Gemma thought the testing floor would somehow help her with her pregnancy. Because she saw how distressed Mark was. Because remember that scene where Mark is just struggling and getting frustrated with the baby crib, and Gemma sitting upstairs just hearing the noises and just being disheartened and like, I caused this pain. It's all my fault. I need to fix this. Okay? And then now you mix that with Mark's disapproval of the mail, the letters from Lumen or from the clinic. She doesn't want to tell him about it because he's like, "You're wasting your time. What's the point? I don't care." And she doesn't want to deal with that. She doesn't want to handle that because it's going to hurt. So she's like, "I'm just going to take this into my own hands. I'm going to go through with this testing. And then when it's done, everything will be fixed. I'll be able to have a baby. Mark will be happy. We'll be happily ever after, and everything will be fine." So she consented, but Lumen took things to another level, a level that she did not anticipate. That's what I'm thinking right now. The only issue is Mark identified the body. We'll probably find out in this season how it went down. Maybe he saw Gemma's twin. I don't know. And what are the twins in the first place? I don't know. I just watched the scene again, and she did say she was going to a party. They were going to play charades. Invited Mark to come. Said, "Hey, if you don't want to come, I could stay home." And he was like, "Nah, you can go. It's fine." So either she was playing 4D chess or she was actually planning on going to a party. And if she was actually planning on going to a party, she didn't plan this with Lumen. But it still stands. I don't think Lumen would take Gemma by force. They wait for your consent. They'll manipulate you, but they're not going to force you. So I still do think Gemma made the decision to be severed. Why? That's still not clear. Did Lumen give her some hope that she might actually be able to bear her own child? Or was it similar to Mark's situation where she was trying to escape pain? So Gemma's been down there for years, okay? And she just wants to go home, dude. She just wants to go back to her Mark. And the doctor is infatuated with her, right? He doesn't want to let go. He wants her for himself. And so he says he's moved on. He remarried. He has kids. You couldn't give him kids. He found someone else that could give him kids. And she was like, she couldn't believe, she was in denial. She didn't want to believe it. Right on her, because that's complete lie. This freaking manipulative doctor bashes his head in with a chair and runs, tries to escape. The nurse tried to stop her because the nurse knew it's futile. There's no point. Once you're going to get into that elevator, but she goes in and then severs into Miss Casey. Milchick. They got Milchick on the phone, called him over. This is happening. He rushes over, meets her at the door and says, "Hey, Miss Casey, long time no see. You better turn around and go back." No. Don't say anything. Turn around and go back. I'm telling you, Gemma has the worst life at Lumen, man. It's horrible. And so while they're showing us all of this, Mark S is outside. His Audi is passed out, right? And you have Devin, his sister, and Ragabi, the doctor, arguing, trying to figure out what is to do with Mark. They're so freaking dumb, man. Just Devin wants to call up Miss Cobell, which is an extremely risky move. And for some reason, she thinks that Miss Cobell is going to help. I mean, she might. She was fired from the severed floor, so she might have something against Lumen, and she might want to help out, okay? I kind of get that logic. I get the logic, but that's an extremely risky move. Especially considering the reason why Mark got outed in the first place for going through this entire plan is because of her. So the doctor is like, yeah, I'm not, what are you doing? I'm not going to have any part of this. If you're going to call her, I'm out. And she gets up to leave and walks out the door. She didn't call Cobell yet, lady. Why don't you try and convince her to not call Cobell? Your duty is your patient. She hasn't called Cobell yet. By leaving, you're forcing her hand. If she thinks calling Cobell is a decent choice, you're not there. She has no other option. She's going to call Cobell. If you aren't there, then she has a reason to not call Cobell because you are that reason, because you can actually help out. By leaving, you're creating a void and you're creating the situation that you don't want. Why can't you just be like, hey, yeah, don't call Cobell. This is why. I will be here. I will help you out. Don't worry, we'll figure this out. Why don't you be a bit more supportive? Both Devin and Ragabi, the doctor, in that scene, it's just like, dude, just calm down, think, communicate. They immediately just got so emotional and just didn't. Anyways, Ragabi left. I don't think Devin made the call. Mark S woke up. And from the way Mark was looking around in the room, I'm pretty sure that's any Mark. I'm pretty sure that is any Mark. Or it is fully reintegrated Mark. And his any half is trying to get adjusted to where he is. But yeah, man. This episode is the most jam-packed out of every Severance episode. Season 2, episode 7 is literally packed to the brim. It answered so many questions, but then it raised even more questions. Things got more confusing with this episode. I gotta watch it again. But let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. I know I missed things. So let me know your thoughts. What are your takes? What do you think? Where do you think things are going? Let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. And I'll see you all in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.